Yeah. All but one coaching job now filled in the NFL. I'm going to give out report card grades for these guys. I'm going to give the Bears a letter grade of A by getting Ben Johnson from Detroit. This guy is brilliant. This guy took, in essence, a street free agent quarterback in Jared Goff, who had not accomplished a lot in LA, and converted him into a 4,000-yard passing quarterback every season, topped off by the career year that he had this year when Detroit almost got the chance to be a Super Bowl team before injuries wrecked them. I think this is a really good hire. And by the way, he's looking across the border from Chicago because he's going to raid Dan Campbell's staff for a couple more people. I'll give the Bears a letter grade of A. Raider Nation Revival. By the way, that's the topic of my One Man's Opinion column on my website today. You should check it out. I watched that press conference yesterday with Pete Carroll and John Spytek, the new general manager. Man, it was kind of equal parts tent revival speech, equal parts party. It was kind of cool. I think Pete Carroll, right guy, right time, right place, right situation. He brings energy. He and that new general manager will now have 10 draft picks and $107 million in cap space. They're going to find a quarterback. They definitely have access to a really good offensive tackle. They probably will get access to a decent running back. I think they fixed this thing a lot quicker than anybody realizes. Mark Davis, just sit in the corner and shut up. This was a real great hire, obviously directed by Tom Brady. So the Raiders get themselves a head coach who was a winner and a general manager that's now helped build a couple teams, draft and develop, because he was responsible for a lot of the stuff in Tampa Bay. Letter grade A to the Raiders. Jacksonville. This sounds strange for all the chaos with the general manager getting fired after the first round of interviews and then them circling back and hiring Liam Cohen of Tampa Bay, who is their juiced-up offensive coordinator. He walks into a really good situation. He's got to fix Trevor Lawrence, who'd been battered. He's got 2 running backs. He's got a host of wide receivers. I think Jacksonville is going to be a real bounce-back franchise next year. And their defense was ravaged by injuries. They're going to get all the injured guys back. I'll guarantee you they won't be giving up 390 yards per game next season. And he links with Baker Mayfield. So what he did at Baker Mayfield, he'll carry over and give it to Trevor Lawrence. I think Jacksonville gets an A. I'm going to give New England's hiring of Mike Vrabel a B. This is a culture hire more than it is anything else. The roster is really deficient of talent outside of Drake May. But if you get Vrabel-type players, they will play his type of football, which is rock'em, sock'em, old school, in your face, knock you down. That's what the Tennessee Titans were under the 4 years of pretty successful football with Vrabel. I'm going to give them a letter grade of B. Bob Kraft's better be ready to spend some money, though, because they need offensive line help. They need skill position help there. New York Jets. I went back and forth on this, but the fact that Aaron Glenn is a proven commodity, a real smart defensive coordinator type guy who gets elevated, he's going to hire good offensive people. It looks as if they're going to keep Aaron Rodgers for at least one more year. But make no mistake about this. This is going to be Aaron Glenn's team. It's not going to be Aaron Rodgers' team. I'm going on vacation type stuff. So I think that's a decent hire. They inherit a pretty good defense, and Aaron Glenn's going to throw that ignition switch to get that defense going. I'm giving the Jets a B. Dallas. This is a weird hire. The press conference, and I watched a piece of it. Just strange. The press conference was not so much about Brian Schottenheimer. The press conference was about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones always had something to say. Brian Schottenheimer hardly spoke at all. Now, in defense of Marty Schottenheimer's kid, he's been an assistant coach for a decade plus, 12 years, I think, overall. He's been a play caller. He was in Seattle with Pete Carroll, and they were successful. So he knows X's and O's, and he's going to get all these injured guys back from defense. And hopefully the battered offensive line will all be healthy. And you got Dak Prescott, and at the end of the year, they think they found themselves a running back. And of course, they still have CD Lamb. So maybe this spin turnaround is going to be quicker than anybody thinks. but it's not getting great reviews in Dallas. It's not getting great reviews around the NFL because Jerry Jones just spent the whole day talking about Jerry Jones, not about Brian Schottenheimer. I gave the Cowboys a D. New Orleans gets an incomplete. And I'll tell you, there's some stuff going on down there that makes no sense at all. The best coach out there is Mike McCarthy. They haven't yet to interview him. It was delayed by snowstorms and weather and all that. He's not there yet. And now we find out that there's a rift. That when McCarthy was there, Mickey Loomis was coming in as a decision maker. He's the general manager and the president, and they don't get along. And all of a sudden, the top candidate has yet to interview and might not interview because of past history with Mickey Loomis. He's the author of Substandard Football. He's the guy that hired Dennis Allen and failed. He's the one who's got salary cap problems from now to the end of his life. Mickey Loomis still has a job, which is kind of weird. So I'm not sure where they're going to go. They spent 4 hours last night with Kellen Moore, the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe he's a guy, but I don't know that he's a candidate to be a head coach beyond me. I mean, if you're asking me who I'd want, I think I'd want proven commodity. What he did in Dallas, 3 straight 12-win seasons, that's pretty damn hard to do. What we did prior to that in Green Bay, you do remember Super Bowls, don't you? I think McCarthy's a better coach, but this Mickey Loomis thing is just kind of hanging out there. So that's the report card, and what's gone on with coaching vacancies. There's only one left out there. John, thoughts?
I'm encouraged about the Raiders. I mean, it's hard for me to believe that I'm saying that. But, they've had this history of bringing on coaches or even GMs that in some cases were sort of unknown guys or longtime coordinators. And then every once in a while bring in a big time famous guy, like Gruden or whatever. But nothing worked. Nothing ever worked. And so do you think that was just the constant, was the Davis family always meddling for the last 22 years?
You think?
We know Jerry Jones meddles in his way, but I don't see Mark Davis as a meddlesome guy.
But if you keep making bad decisions about the personnel you're bringing in, that's the trigger point. So if you're bringing in substandard head coaches and giving them carte blanche and they're not good, then what do you get? You get bad product on the field. And they had general managers along the same way. I'm trying to think of what the statistic is. I want to say this is I'm going to get this wrong, but it's something like the 9th different head coaches and interim coaches that Mark Davis has had since Mark Davis took over. That's not good. No continuity whatsoever.
How long has Mark Davis been in charge now?
Since, I want to say 2011, maybe?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And they've had only 2 winning seasons since 2003. But this is Pete Carroll. I mean, the press conference was really impressive. Hell, I was ready to sign up. And I don't like anything about the silver and black. But I wrote kind of a cool one man's opinion column that's on my website. And a lot of people responded to that today via email to me. So that's where we are in the coaching carousel. Fascinating to see how quick Pete Carroll flips this, because he flipped USC within a year and a half, and he flipped Seattle within a year and a half. And last I checked, Seahawks went to 2 Super Bowls with that guy as a leader. And John Spytek's got a great track record as a young player personnel guy who drafts and develops people. So, and like I said, the last general manager left in 10 draft picks and $107 million in cap space. And to me, Pete Carroll would be a magnet to draw guys there.
Yeah, I'm encouraged. By the way, did you see the quick press conferences from Aaron Glenn and then Leon Cohen? Because Aaron Glenn took control of the room. He was like in charge during his press conference. And then Leon Cohen gave this half-ass weak sauce Duval comment. Did you see that?
Yeah. And he kind of got ganged on that one. And, but Cohen is the one that pulled out and then pulled back in. Okay. So, I mean, he was about to sign an extension to stay in Tampa. Then they fired the general manager, and then they called Cohen and said, "Yeah, I'll talk to you now that Trent Baalke's gone." I'm like, what a strange set of circumstances. But
it's a short drive.
Yeah. the guy does have a track record of X's and O's that is college football, NFL related, college football back to the NFL again. He's moved around a lot. So all things, you got an opinion on Pete Carroll, Raider Nation. I want you to text, want you to email all your friends. Tell them about what we're doing on this podcast this afternoon. Tell them to jump on board. Tell them to join us, Fans Forum, in the chat box. Your letter grade on what team you want to talk about, especially the Raider Nation.